If I'm gonna stand up for myself for anything, I gave it a 6. You're the only one who was given the film a good review and I still can't believe it. Wait, did you think I was doing an apology video? I don't even own a ukulele, guys. But I am here to break the fourth wall. We talk very openly on this channel, and today I had something that I just wanted to get off my chest, and I wanted to start off the year by setting the tone on this channel and talk about something that critics don't usually like to discuss: our worst takes. Usually we call these unpopular opinions, and of course it's relatable to anybody who talks about film online or anyone who likes to hear people talk about film, which is you. Thank you so much for being here. Because this has happened to everybody. There is no film that I will ever see, that you will ever see, and that I will ever talk about that everyone in the whole world who has seen it hates or loves. Can a take be wrong? Today we're going to talk a little bit about that concept, and I will be delving into my most unpopular takes and how they were received online, my most backlash reviews, and you will want to stay tuned because I have some friends that are going to drop by and tell you about their unpopular takes and the time they were criticized for them. But first, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. I'm sure you've heard a lot about VPNs lately. I have been using Surfshark for years, and I use it primarily to keep all of my data secure when I'm surfing online, and it works on multiple devices. One of the best things about Surfshark is your one membership can work across unlimited devices. So I have it on my phone, on my smart TV, on my iPad, on my laptop, wherever you go on the internet. But my main use for Surfshark, I'm not gonna lie, it's for unblocking geo-blocked content. So say if you wanted to watch something in a different country, you can type in what country you want to watch from, and within seconds you will be transported to a whole new feed. And if you are interested in trying out a VPN today, you can go to surfshark.com/spooky and you will get 4 months extra of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring this video, and thank you for letting me always find what I need to find online. But now, back to it. It's scary enough to put yourself out there online, let alone sharing your opinion or take on something that a lot of people have different opinions on, especially with how I do my reviews. I go in blind, speak directly to the camera right after watching, and edit later. And sometimes it's not until the comments roll in on my video I have just published that I am made aware I have a very different take on what I just witnessed. Obviously, this isn't always the case. If I'm watching a film that's come out later or an older film, I will look into recommendations. A lot of you guys recommend me some really cool films, so I already know or already have expectations of what I'm about to watch. But watching a film with no prior knowledge and no commentary surrounding it is a very pure and fascinating experience. I even got to see Nossi. I saw that back in November and I couldn't tell a soul. And I'm not saying this to brag because often it's not a great experience. I love experiencing films with other people, which is why I created this channel. I had no one to talk about horror with. That is the whole purpose of this channel. But I do think the way I approach this is really important to how I'm trying to talk about film online, because my reaction is always authentic, it's always my own, and it's always within my own language. And this is something you maybe don't know about this channel and gives a lot of context to my videos. Where we're sitting right now, this is a staircase that I filmed on for maybe 6 months when I didn't have a filming space in my tiny little apartment, and I was criticized for it because it was not professional enough. But I, again, made this channel with the sole purpose of connecting to other horror fans. I am doing this from a film lover's perspective. But I come from a traditional media background. When I first started my YouTube channel 11 years ago, I was working in TV as an editor on a gardening TV show. But I also went on, and throughout my channel, I was working at different jobs within traditional media, including in a newsroom. So I am very aware of the way we're meant to present and talk about film from a traditional media standpoint. And Honestly, everything I do on my channel is to reject that. Have you ever noticed language starts sounding the same? The way they present, the way they talk, the language and the vocabulary used. And this is important to this hot take. I promise this is important because it's all about perspective, and that is what makes your opinion on a horror film, your own perspective. And when we all start sounding the same and describing films the same way is when we take the fun out of giving our take, our own opinion, our own unique perspective. And I know if I was American and had an American accent, if my inflections didn't go up at the end of my sentences, and if I was just more intelligent, really, that could be more commercially viable. But that is the traditional media that I am against. It's the same reason I put you in my pocket and take you to the cinema. Because why not? Why are we doing things within a structured box? This is a channel for fans of film to talk to other fans of film. And you know what we do best? We discuss our different perspectives, and that can only come from not shaming each other and speaking in our own authentic language, whatever that is. And when I say language, I'm not talking about English. I'm talking about the way we speak. At the end of the day, I feel like I found a place where people understand me, and from that, they can understand whether they would like a film based on how I'm talking about it, which is why I always say, you will like this film if blah, 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 because I know, and I'm not expecting anyone to have the exact same opinion as me. That would be crazy. I've been thinking about David Lynch a lot lately, like most of us. And I've been thinking about his idea about interpreting or never really explaining himself. The idea the film itself is about an energy, an idea, and not so much about picking it apart and telling you what it means, but more so what it means to the viewer, to the person watching, the person connecting with it. He refused to explain his work because he knows that the personal connection is so much more important than that. Which brings me to the harshest criticism. I mean, I've got all the good ones, all the great ones before, but the harshest criticism you can get by posting or sharing your opinion anywhere is that you didn't get the film. And I'm not talking about if you genuinely didn't understand plot points and you're looking for an explainer video and maybe someone else's take might help you fill in those blanks, but the idea that you watching a film, you must not have understood it because you didn't have the same experience that I did. I hate this argument for so many reasons. Number one, that we're arguing over why you like something or you didn't and someone is trying to convince you, but especially because we're talking about horror here. Horror is one of the extreme and most subjective genres out there. Why, when someone doesn't find a comedy funny, you just say, it's not really my type of humor. But when someone doesn't find a horror movie scary, compelling, thrilling, exciting, people can say, well, you just didn't get it. The thing is, people should have different reactions to horror movies. Horror movies are based around trauma, fears, and most people have different experiences with that, which forms their perspectives. Opinion is based on perception, and different things scare different people. You're also shooting down anyone having a different opinion to you and a diverse perspective in making horror movies. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that the goal? Standalone, unique horror movies. Instead of having remakes, reboots, whatever, requels, sequels, prequels. I'm not against them, but we all want more unique standalone horror movies. And shooting down people who see things differently, those opinions and the things that make us different is what makes horror unique. I do love discussion in films. You can miss things in films, have other people point them out to you. That is the fun. You can even go back and change your mind with a new, fresh perspective after a few years. I have a whole series on that. But if I don't like peaches, it doesn't mean I don't get them. And it also doesn't mean you aren't allowed them and you have to dislike them. As the Queen said, just happy as peaches to watch your heavy heart go pop, pop. And you know how many people are split on that film? People say it's their favorite film of 2024, and some people say it is complete trash. Does that mean that one of them is wrong? But let's get to the juicy stuff. It's time to confess. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's start with Phobias. This is a film that came out in 2021, and probably none of you remember it. But it has a 3.6 on IMDb. And guess what? I liked it. Let's listen to how giddy I was when the review went up. But first, the thumbnail. I looked so happy. Phobias is a little bit misleading as a title for this hybrid anthology horror thriller. But don't let that stop you from getting sucked in to the skin-crawling chapters of terror, violence, and fear. The film is split into 6 different segments as we follow 5 unique, shocking stories of violent incidents. The film has 5 directors, 1 for each segment, all which have writing credits on this film. The 6th segment, known as Outpost 37, plays in between the stories, linking them together. As I said, the film isn't really about phobias at all. It's actually about trauma, each character being traumatized by their actions or consequences. So the love I have from this film came from how violent and how gory it was. I thought it was a really fun film to watch at home. And when I was putting this review together, I really enjoyed learning about the backstory of the creative process. But also, I just found it a very enjoyable film. It kind of reminded me of Phobias, which is a Thai film. And I just thought it was a fun anthology film. I'm not usually that attached to anthology films. So what the heck was the issue? And this is obviously across the board. It's not just with the review that I did. You know, that's the whole point, is it's against the general consensus. So let's have a look at some of the comments. And I do think that these comments came out before people saw the film, so I do feel very awful about this. This is the worst thing for me to put online because, oh my god, look at all these people saying sounds excellent. By the way, hello Lisa, I know you've been following me for years. If you're still following me, poor SquarePants trusted me. 3 years ago, this movie was garbage. Horrible movie. This movie was so bad, I'm sorry to say. Guys, never say that you're sorry to say something. Really, never say this. Look, I'm sorry, but this movie was trash. I got read to filth. Oh my god, and you weren't wrong. I mean, this is my take. I don't know how it got so bad. Oh my god. I don't know what happened. I thought this was just a fun, enjoyable film. Let's double check what rating I gave. Oh, no. That kind of feel than, you know, jump scares, which I think a lot of us prefer these days. And for originality, I'm going to give it a 6 as well. I honestly think this might be the most different a score has been that I've given a film than it has come up afterwards on IMDb. I don't know what happened here. I think that this film is fine. This actually makes me feel a little bit crazy. I'm not gonna lie. How was I so wrong? The whole thing about a video review is you do see my language, you do see my expression, you do see my tone, and I go through and I feel like I'm explaining my take with all sincerity. She was by far the most chilling and terrifying part of this film, and they kept her story as the peak of the movie for a reason, and I don't think I'll be sleeping well tonight because that imagery is burnt in my mind. I don't know. I don't think I'm... I still remember all of the visual of this film, and I just think, sorry, I don't mean to censor myself. YouTube's just got a little thing with me right now with saying that word, but I really loved what they did with the intensity with these phobias, and I think it's a great idea for an anthology film, people's traumas and how that reflects into exaggerated fears. This one is just such a weird phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon. I was just wrong, or I just have a very different take on what happened during this film. I just think it's such an interesting film, and it still baffles me to this day why our opinions were so different. I don't get it. That was just a warm-up though, because my next two are, they're polar opposites. One, you guys hated and I liked, and the other, I guess it's not polar, but I was very mid on, and I got roasted for it. I'm still getting roasted for it. So my next take, which is probably the most controversial, is The Exorcist Believer. I think I have a reason for this one, but we're playing into perspective, of course. Hi friends, welcome back. I am so excited. I know a lot of people are very apprehensive about this film that I'm about to see, but I'm actually super excited. I feel like I've kind of, not changed my opinion, but I've altered my expectations for this one, and I'm just excited to see what they do with it. Of course, I'm talking about The Exorcist Believer. Okay, The Exorcist Believer, people never gave it a chance. And I totally understand why. I really do. I think I didn't even know how much rumors, I guess, and I think some of them have been confirmed about the, William Blatty and the original cast and how they felt about this film, although they did come back as consultants, not the director, but, Linda Blair. And of course we had Ellen Burstyn on the film, which she donated her money to an MFA scholarship for actors, but people quoted her as saying, "I felt like the devil is asking my price." So I mean, a lot of people weren't into this film from the start, and for good reason. I went to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, and I went and walked through a haunt, which was the theme of this, just a couple of weeks before seeing this film. So I feel like I had a different idea of how the tone would be, and it really matched the walkthrough a lot more. I remember walking through that. I don't know if I included a clip here, but I remember walking through that. Oh my God, I did the 7 again. I walked through it and I was really worried about spoilers. And the other thing that really I like about this film is Ann Dowd is in it, who I absolutely adore. Everything she's in, I feel like she just steals the screen. I can understand why people are mad about this one. I don't think it had a fighting chance. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think it should be an Exorcist film. I am with you. What I really enjoyed about this film is the whole lead up about the girls going out and being in the wilderness together. And I love the idea of them being lost in the mystery about it. We don't quite know the details. And a lot of people said that was ambiguous and it was kind of rushed and very whimsy and strange. And although it does feel a little bit Slender Man, lost in the woods, no real straightforward narrative, I was really consumed by the tone of this film. And I'm not saying it's a perfect film. I don't think it was in my top 10 or anything like that, but I did enjoy it for what it was worth. And I felt like, I don't know, I got something out of it than everyone else, I guess. I guess that's a really good example of perspective, and my expectations were changed going in. And I go in blind, of course. I didn't even watch the trailer, but it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens moving forward with this trilogy. We'll see. We were always really worried about The Exorcist. I'm a big fan of The Exorcist, and I know a lot of you guys watching are a big fan. And I think for what we knew about the director... You can tell I'm so scared. This is such a different example. And for knowing this is a new Exorcist film, I think that they did pretty well to modernize the story. Do I think it's better than the original? Heck no. But I do think that it pays a lot of tribute, and it's still quite a scary story, and that was all I really hoped for. It hit the mark for me with what I was expecting. I don't know how you could make it better, because there's nothing that could be better than The Exorcist while staying in the franchise. I feel like just having that hanging over your head is enough. And with a film like The Exorcist, it's kind of like The Shining. You're biting off more than you can chew already by taking on the project. I think I was well aware what could happen, but I thought people would like it a lot more than they did. Let's look at the comments. Oh my God, I did a comment about this. I don't remember this. The backlash on this film is wild. I feel like Halloween was so much more well received, but I get it. Oh no. I can't believe I commented. People keep saying that they're open-minded. Let's sort by newest, because this is after obviously people have seen it. This movie was horrible. Duh. What? Oh look, someone else said, I don't get why everyone else hated this so much. Like you, I thought it was a good movie. Thank you. I love that. Oh look, someone said that they watched it and they're glad they trusted me. Here we go. Can't take your reviews seriously if you thought that was a good film. That's not even that bad. It was terrible. 2 out of 5. These aren't that bad though. This is what I'm saying. I don't mind if people don't agree with me at all. I think that this is fine for people to say like it's mid, good scenes, but not as great, or explaining their take. I really enjoy reading that. No way, that movie was bad. See, that's fine too. This one I didn't care for. If it didn't have the Exorcist name, there we go. You're the only one who was given the film a good review and I still can't believe it. See guys, I gotta put it out there. This movie was dog water. How did you enjoy it? I don't know. I feel like I said my piece. I said my piece. And probably my biggest blunder, or I guess it's so recent in memory, is The Oddity. People loved this film and it just didn't work the same for me. I really wish that I was on the level that you guys were, but it just didn't work. And this is the one I did get a couple of comments, people saying you just didn't get it, you don't understand it, it was trying to do this vibe, go back and watch it with this. Honestly, I was watching full focus. I was not distracted, and I really love the director, Damien McCarthy. I gave him a really good review for Caveat, which is the film before this film, and they're kind of connected in a way as well. If you did like Oddity and you haven't checked that film out, do check it out. But I do prefer the tone of that one. So I went into it, and it just did not resonate with me at all. I did think some of the imagery was really cool and unique, but besides that, the story just, I didn't get me under its spell. And welcome back. I got it. I got my hands on Oddity. Although this film is not out yet in my country, I have a beautiful screening set up for today. It's a winter's day and we're gonna go to my lounge room to go check out this movie together. I've been hearing about this film non-stop, and a lot of you who commented on my last video talking about my top 10 so far of 2024, which number one was a surprise, right? You asked me, when am I gonna see this film? And trust me, I wanted to for so long, and I'm so grateful that I got my hands on a screener. The movie is about a psychic medium who attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. Just that alone is very exciting. I have not seen any of the trailer, but a psychic medium and an investigation story, those are two of my favorite themes within horror movies, so I'm really keen to see how this pans out. Let's look at the reaction. Okay. Okay. All right. That was not what I expected at all. You could tell how let down I am. And people got so mad at me for saying it was okay. I give this film a 6 out of 10. I do feel a little bit more positive about it than negative, but I am a little bit disappointed, I have to say. For originality, I'm going to give it an 8. I did think it was original on all counts, except for some of the stereotypical job titles and places of work, those kind of aspects. Everything else I thought was done in a very unique way. And for scare, I'm going to give it a 6 because it got me with a couple of jump scares. If you want a jump scare movie, this could be for you. People are obsessed with this film, and I knew that a lot of people were talking about it, but that's just normal for me being in horror, that when a new horror film comes out and it's at the cinemas, especially in America, I hear a lot about it. So I just thought people were letting me know, or people letting me know as well, because it's not out here and they are waiting for a review. They're asking if I'm gonna do a review. Little did I know, this was like one of the biggest films last year. This was on so many people's top 10. It does have a 6.7 on IMDb. And honestly, if I'm gonna stand up for myself for anything, I gave it a 6. So it's not that bad, but people got really upset that I didn't absolutely adore this film, which I was really shocked by, because I did say I was more positive. I was just a bit disappointed, and I think that that didn't match everyone else's enthusiasm for it. Let's look at some comments. I'm surprised by this review. This generally felt like a movie that came out of nowhere and managed to impress me. This one's nice. I like that you got access to the screener, but you still gave your honest opinion. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Love your channel, completely disagree. Love these comments. Anyone like this, but look at this. Love your channel, but completely disagree. I liked this comment, by the way, but it's got 109 thumbs up. It says that the movie treats the audience as intelligent and doesn't write 1 year later or anything stupid like that. The organization of the film drew me in more than usual. The characters were perfectly subtle, no need for an arc, which I think is completely fair. This is the thing, I love reading this stuff, but I was completely on the opposite side of this one. No hate comments here, but everyone, yeah, I mean, there probably will be. This is interesting. So this one says it's strange because I usually agree with your reviews, and that they watch the movie first and have to say they love the movie. They found it original. My dude, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I said it was original too. I feel like because I gave it a 6, I broke everyone's heart, but 6 is still positive. 6 is one of my favorite films of all time. It's like being a kid again. I think everyone just loved this film. I hoped you watched it loud. I really wish that I felt the same way, guys. Honestly, I really wish. This is the perfect response. Interesting take. While I don't agree at all, I appreciate your candid response. This is why I have to just put it out there and be honest. It didn't work for me. I really wish it did, and I'm sorry. Maybe I will apologize. But you know what? I'm not the only person who has put their opinion online and then realized that they have the unpopular take and possibly got roasted, lightly roasted for it. I have a couple of friends that I wanted to drag into the hot seat and have them tell their stories. I always find these so fascinating. So please keep watching because these takes are not only interesting but really funny. So take it away, Zena.
Hi, my name is Zena. I'm your best friend who loves horror, and usually after I do that, I do like a little hair flip thing, but I don't know if I should do it. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it. It's Zena, your best friend who loves horror, and I loved the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I said what I said. Here on out, it's all about standing on business, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I remember when this movie dropped on Netflix back in February of 2022, and it was trending everywhere on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, because everybody hated it. And that's all they were talking about. I think I probably saw maybe like 1 or 2 people who was like, hey guys, it's not that bad. And so I was pretty late to watching it. I mean, late to me because I checked it out on a Sunday or a Monday, right? And you know, I decided to go in with an open mind. I didn't think that I was gonna love it. I didn't think that I was gonna hate it. I just thought that it was just gonna be a movie, and I just, again, decided to go in with an open mind. After I finished watching it though, I was so confused because it's just like, this movie was a good time. Did we watch the same movie? As of right now, there are 9 Texas Chainsaw Massacres. This is the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre that actually gave us a massacre. I can't speak on the comics, the book, or the 2 video games, just the movies. In some ways, I get why it wasn't everybody's jam, but at the same time, people were saying that it's the worst horror movie that they ever seen. Like, people are acting like Jeepers Creepers Reborn did not come out the same year, because it did. Seriously, I know there were also a lot of people who were saying that they felt like it tried to copy off of Halloween 2018, which I did not feel that way. Which leads to the next thing. People also had a problem with what happened to the character Sally. And I definitely agree with that one. However, that's exactly why I feel like it wasn't trying to be like Halloween 2018, because of what happened to Sally. I love that this movie is mean, fun, splattery, and ridiculous. It's just an unapologetic modern slasher thriller that's not trying to be like the original one or the previous installments. Like, seriously, even when it comes to the kills, it is such a good time. Like, one of the first kills, it involves Leatherface breaking a man's arm. Then he uses the exposed bone to stab the man in his neck. Cinema! That opening kill told me everything what to expect with this one. And what's crazy is people are acting like the title of this movie is not Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, what were you expecting? I also remember people hated a particular character who was drawn to something that brought them trauma. Let me just say this. I know that it's fiction, and without putting their business out there, I have known people who have done that exact same thing, where they felt intrigued towards something that brought them trauma. And I think that that was just their way of how they were processing it. Man, and I remember when I finally started telling people my opinion about this movie, there were some people who was cool with it because, you know, I was just explaining the fact that, again, it's just fun. It's splattery fun, you know, that type of thing. I don't think that it's meant to be something super profound. And they got that. And then there was even some people who agreed with that. And I think I converted some people. However, that's not my goal, okay? You like what you like, you hate what you hate. Girl, I don't care. However, there were some people who were bothered. I mean, bothered, where they were trying to change my opinion. They were trying to prove me wrong. But it's like, I don't think that there's a right or wrong opinion. I mean, unless you love Jeepers Creepers Reborn, then you're wrong. Just kidding. Again, I'm standing on business. I love this movie. If you hate this movie, that's cool. If you love it, that's cool too. If you're in the middle, that's cool too. We're talking about me. And I love it. I do think that people will change their mind just like they did with Jennifer's Body and My Soul to Take. I said what I said. And there's nothing wrong with changing your mind when it comes to movies. I do that all the time. I have so many unpopular opinions ready to ooze out of me, okay? But this was the first one that came to mind. Bye.
I actually found it really hard to pick a bad take that I've had before. Even just trying to narrow it down to bad takes I had in 2024. I had a couple of different ones to choose from. The one I'm going to mention is one I definitely knew it was a bad take when I came out of the movie, and that was for Beetlejuice. I knew it was gonna be a bad take because going into the movie, I knew I was gonna feel some sort of way about the sequel because it was a sequel. A lot of the movie to me just felt like a nostalgia fest, but not in the right way because it's such a huge property, Beetlejuice. I felt like the sequel tried to stuff way too much into it instead of keeping the story simple and letting us enjoy these characters coming back that we know and love. While I did know it was probably going to be an unpopular take coming out of the movie, I didn't realize how unpopular it would be until afterward, when I started to see reviews come in and people make comments on my video that I posted about the sequel. One thing I do want to share really quick that came to my mind when I was trying to pick a movie to share for this video. Every single instance I thought of where I feel like I had a bad take, I almost dismissed those ideas because I had the thought, oh well, there was a couple of people that agreed with me in the comments of my review. But I realized that about every single bad take that I had. This ended up just being a really nice reminder that even when you do have a bad take or an unpopular opinion, there are going to be people that share your opinion and maybe thank you for sharing your thoughts on it, whether it's on Letterboxd, on YouTube, or wherever, because they feel the same way. So whether you're standing by a bad take or an unpopular opinion that you have, which I do stand by mine for Beetlejuice, or you're changing your opinion on a movie, which is totally okay, and I think even natural to do as we grow and learn and as humans and get older and have more life experiences and encounter different things. There's always going to be somebody out there that shares the same opinion as you. So even if it's unpopular, make sure you share those bad takes.
Yo, my name is Xero Gravity, and I loved M. Night Shyamalan's Trap from last year. And I know that's a take. Is it a bad take? I don't think so, but I know it's a take. Now, before I say my piece, let me preface this so I can defend myself later. I just so happen to be M. Night Shyamalan's strongest soldier, or that I've seen so far on Twitter, anyway, okay? I'm a huge fan of M. Night Shyamalan's work, all of it, the good stuff, even the bad stuff. Let's not talk about that Avatar movie. As far as I'm concerned, as a fan, that never happened, okay? But I don't think anyone can argue with me when I say that M. Night Shyamalan loves a risk. He loves a risk. Will that risk always pay off? No. Even if you're not a fan of his movies, I think that we could all respect his work. Because let's be real, the risks that he wants to take are risky. And not all these big budget studios are willing to shell out money just in case it doesn't work. But he sticks true to it, and I respect that a hell of a lot, especially as somebody who's cool with the twist at the end, you know, the Shyamalan signature. Yeah, you know what? Sign me up. I'm always willing to meet him at his level, which I believe is what I took away from his most recent film, Trap. At the very bare bones of it, I want to stand behind the brown man who took risks in cinema as the industry tried their best to push him out, and he said, F you, I don't think so. I'm gonna make this kooky cinema for the people who wanna see it. It's me. I wanna see it. I really do. And again, let me preface this by saying, they don't always hit. The twists don't always land, but I appreciate the shots taken. Take it back to your elementary school poster. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take just to be corny with it for 1 second. I loved Trap. I knew it wasn't going to be the greatest movie out there, and I knew that it would come with criticism because people already have made up their minds about the zany world of M. Night Shyamalan films. That's totally cool with me. I'm someone who is able to remove myself from reality extremely easy. Maybe that's a red flag. You know, at this point, let the man make all the stupid movies that he wants. I don't think that anyone was under the assumption that this would be a masterpiece when the trailer dropped. I really don't. That's probably myself included. I know this might have been a little too on the nose for some people, but I think the whole point of this movie is to poke fun at people's inability to remove themselves from reality just for a quick second in order to F off and say, I'm just going to enjoy this movie for what it is. We don't need to be taking everything so seriously. I kind of resonate with that as a clown in my daily life myself. I like to immerse myself in a world where regular societal norms don't really matter, they don't count at all. It's different, it's challenging, it makes you uncomfortable sometimes. I'm down to remove my expectations and think about and predict how people would act in situations and just enjoy a story that is really out of this world, stupid, kooky, just keeps going. Why not? None of it's real anyway. I don't think this is the greatest movie of last year. In fact, it didn't even make my top 12, to be completely honest with you. It's not the best M. Night Shyamalan film either, by far. But did I have a good time? Totally. Low rating, high entertainment value. I leave the theater happy. There's not much more I can ask for, to be real with you. The first thing I did when I left the theater was download Lady Raven's soundtrack because it is on Spotify. I think M. Night has very promising talent that runs in his bloodline, and that's worth showcasing. He's worked hard in a career, again, for an industry that tried their best to push him out because of his insane ideas. Now that he's made it, yeah, who cares? Put them on the spot. I learned something new about Salika Knight. I love her music. But also, Josh Hartnett in Dad Mode, that's not so bad. That's not so bad though, isn't it?
Well, hello, my sweeties. I'm Celise, also known as Sweet and Spooky here on YouTube. And I've got a hot take coming at you today. Dare I say, might be the hottest take on today's list. And I'm sick of holding it in. Seed of Chucky is a masterpiece. Not only is it a masterpiece, but it is one, if not the best Chucky film in the entire franchise. And no, I will not be taking any questions at this time. That is just like simply the case. Now, I have gotten a lot of backlash for having this take, especially on streams where I have received such colorful comments such as, you only liked it because there were gay people in it, and the classic, you just don't get movies. And no matter how many of you bully me, whichever way you put it, I am not backing down. Because the first time I watched Seed of Chucky, I was genuinely confused with what is not to love about this movie. I literally didn't even realize this was the most hated film in the franchise for some reason, and that was crazy. It's everything fun, it's super meta, Jennifer Tilly is at her most Jennifer Tilly, Glenn Glenda is iconic, and Chucky is better at accepting his kid than most parents these days. Oh, and also, the kills are so over the top and silly, love them. It feels like a perfect follow-up to Bride of Chucky for me, and I think maybe, just maybe, some of you just hate having a little bit of fun. God, nobody can just let a girl enjoy things. Am I right, Emma?
I'm cutting this in afterwards, but I totally agree, by the way. I've literally got Glenda on my desk. Anyway, outro. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you liked today's video. It's a little bit different. I promise I won't always be like this. And I really don't want to come across like I'm preaching. I just wanted to get my feelings out there. This is just my opinion and it could be wrong. We're here just to have fun, and I think it's very important to set the tone sometimes with a channel. I love film and I'm never gonna stop speaking about it, and I'm never gonna stop reading your comments about it. It really occurred to me after reading the Sonic comments, I felt so wrong, and I realized I had done unpopular opinion videos, but I hadn't really addressed films that I had put my take out there. And not that people had just torn me apart, but more so people just didn't agree with me. I thought it was a really fascinating phenomenon, how your perspective can form everything about how you see the world and of course how you see film. Of course, I want to thank all of my guests today. I have left all of their information down below. You should really go check them out. Amazing creators online. I follow all of them. They have very cool and at times very different takes than me, which I think is important. But at the end of the day, it's your opinion that matters. And this is always going to be an open and safe space for you to share that with me. I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.